Team, welcome to week 4. Excuse me for getting so close here and grab power cord. Week 4 of Business 101 Principles of Management. In this unit, we're going to start talking about strategic management. Remember in week 1 I mentioned PESTLE, right? The political, economic, sociological, technological, environmental, and legal aspects of decision making. And this is all going to be in chapter 5 of our text. We'll also explore a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis stands for our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. The strengths and weaknesses is internal to the organization, and the opportunities and threats are external. Now, this is a good tool, and there's a YouTube video link on this unit. Good tool to use when evaluating certain situations. Will the company succeed in this endeavor? It's also a good tool to use personally. For instance, should I invest in this? Should I get a new car? Or something. When you see it, I want you to explore it. So, anyways, and also this week in the discussion boards, we're going to be talking about our MBTI results that you did last week. And we have a teachable moment here because last week I sent out an email saying, hey, a whole bunch of people are late on their papers, and I was wrong. So here is a little bit about MBTI and your professor, Dave, here. The number one cause of conflict I would say in the workplace, is the J and P of your last MBTI results. Whether you are a structured person or you are a unstructured procedure, right? The J and P, the last letter there. And in case you can't tell, I'm a huge P. I'm not a J. I'm not a very structured person. And you can generally tell this with people, like the simple question is asked, how many projects do you have in your garage at one time? To a guy, right? Or to a woman, and they would, if somebody said, oh, I'm working on 5 or 6 things, they're generally a P. A J is a checklist person. They like to get one thing done, move on to the next. And this causes conflict in the workplace generally because a J will get something done so they can move on to the next project. And if your boss is a P, so for instance, if a P is receiving a paper that and has a due date, let's say at midnight, the J will get it done 2 days before it's due. And the P will wonder, well, why did you hand this in early? Obviously, you didn't spend enough time on it. And vice versa. If a J says, hey, this is due at midnight, he or she would want it done earlier. And, you can tell this all the time at the workplace. A J, their cubicle or their desk is, beautiful. Everything's in place, They're the people that if you move a pen cap off their desk, it drives them crazy. Where a P is everywhere, spontaneous, the desk is a mess. Now here's the strengths and weaknesses, right? As a P can usually jump in and improvise and do things, where a J, nope, it has to be on a certain timeline. It has to be checked. So here's what happened with this course, right? In my blunder last week, and I take full responsibility. So I'm actually the original course writer for this course. Yep, taught it about 6, 7 times. And anyways, about a week before we convened, or maybe 2 weeks, the Goodwin said, hey Dave, do you want to teach us? Oh yeah, I'll teach us, no problem, And then we had some Blackboard issues, and I actually didn't get access to Blackboard until like a couple of days before the class started. Okay, so to me, being a P, no problem, right? I jump right in, Well, I originally wrote this course, so there's a discussion board, and there is a paper, and the 3 quizzes, so there's paper every week, and a quiz, the 3 quizzes. And so, anyways, I did not realize that I got a previous professor's Blackboard shell, and he changed things around. Okay, no big deal. But if I was a J, I would have checked all of that before even going live. Or I wouldn't even accepted to teach the course. But I'm a big P. So that's, and there's no conflict, no shame, blame, shame, or guilt. Uh, this is what happens with this personality type. Now that you guys are learning, or you already know about MBTI, the key is, once you've learned yourself, is to speed read other people, to look for these traits. Because they're not good, they're not bad, they just are. And we need to learn to capitalize on this. This is what management's all about, right? This is what leadership is all about. That, when we talk about diversity, diversity is not just race, it's just not gender, it's just not ethnic background, it's also experience, it's also personality types, and, it's about education. This is where the magic happens, when we form our teams with different personalities. For instance, once again, I'm going to pick on myself, being a big P. When I teach a course, and not just Goodwin here, I can jump right up on stage on the podium, much like I'm doing now, and improvise and talk and talk and talk. But I'll be the one that forgets the students need chairs. Because it's not, hey, I didn't know. I thought they would have had them, and because of that, I usually work with somebody that's a big J, that they have a checklist, and they say, hey, Dave, make sure the microphone's working, make sure the computers are working. Okay. And I can jump right up there, right off the script. Now, a lot of people might say, well, Dave, how come you don't just make a checklist? Well, I do. And I have to have it before teaching if my friend Craig, who is a big J, isn't with me. Now, one of the, like when Craig teaches, and Craig's a great teacher, however, if a student asks him a question that is, not on script, he can blunder because, well, that's not part of my routine in my script. Me, I just say, oh, let's look it up, it doesn't bother me, but I'm a big P. So anyways, these are things to think about when doing, when with your MBTI. Also the thinker and feeler. I'm a big T. I'm not a feeler, so my decisions are usually based on logic, at least Dave's logic, and not emotions. I have a hard time with that. And I'm not an intuitive person. I'm a sensory person. As a matter of fact, an SP, if you look at those funny charts I handed out, I think I posted, and, I'm an experiencer. I'm a Bart Simpson type guy, or a, who is it in the Muppets? Scooter, I believe. No, it's Gonzo. Yeah. I have to experience it. I have to do it. If I get the urge, hey, I want to go climb Mount Washington actually at the end of August. Never done it. Got to do it. I got to experience it. I'm borderline E and I. Some people are on the extremes, like all my other letters, I'm on the extreme. But E and I, I'm borderline. A lot of people think I'm extroverted because I talk a lot. However, I probably have, I can count on one hand the amount of people I talk to in a day. And here's a little tidbit you might not know. The majority of your teachers are introverts. Right? They start off as researchers, and they like reading, they like academia, they like being by themselves. They get thrusted into an extroverted role by being a teacher. So they're a little bit out of their comfort zone. So there's a little tidbit between Dave and you guys. Also, okay, so let's keep going. It's now Sunday at the end of week 3. I still have a lot of papers that I haven't seen that are due tonight, right? And a lot of quizzes. Remember that quiz, the first quiz, you get 2 attempts. I reset the quiz for one person, and you can see obviously they have some computer issues. If you have any computer issues, let me know right away. But I don't want to see people dropping off. Remember my teaching philosophy, stick with me and you'll do fine. However, if you're dropping off, there's nothing I can do. Okay, thanks. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, let me know. Dave out.